This is Frank Issam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics and explore the topics of current interest that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Shuja Nawaz, Director of the South Asia Center at the Atlantic Council, a noted author and political analyst. He'll be discussing a very hot topic these days, relationship and policy towards Pakistan. I want to show the viewer this wonderful book, Cross Swords, that the Shuja has written. It's a great book. If you have an opportunity to buy it, please buy it. It tells the story of Pakistan. Thank you very much for coming to our show, Shuja. I'm delighted to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure being here.
How do you see the current U.S.-Pakistan engagement proceeding?
Well, it goes in a yo-yo pattern. There's friendship and then there is estrangement. This is now a period of attempted friendship. The new administration is trying to reset the clock. Previously, the Bush administration had made very strong overtures towards Pakistan, particularly after 9/11, gave it a lot of money, something like $10 to $12 billion of military assistance over the period. But near the end of the Bush term, the relationship was becoming a little strained, mainly because of the tremendous opposition inside Pakistan to U.S. support of an autocratic ruler in Pakistan.
You're talking to President Pervez Musharraf.
Exactly. And with President Musharraf's departure and now the arrival on the scene of President Obama, a new chapter seems to be beginning, in which President Obama wants to have a longer-term relationship, not necessarily with any individual or group or institution in the country, but with the people of Pakistan. And this is the new Obama strategy. It's also based on a regional approach to problems in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and also has overtures towards India.
Well, I hope that the democratically elected government that we have, it will flourish, and they should be able to cherish the freedom. The Islamic militants, as you probably know, that's a hot topic of discussion everywhere, and the Islamic militants subscribe to the notion that I don't think the Islamic religion or faith subscribe to that. That's a tyranny and terrorism. And Islamic faith preaches and teaches the freedom, fairness, I would say the equality, dignity, as well as respect. Is the U.S. approaching the issue of radical militant Islam correctly? If not, what does it need to do?
Well, it's not just the U.S. I think it also is the question of how Pakistan is approaching it, the government. There was some ambivalence towards the Islamic militants in Pakistan, particularly those that were in the border near Afghanistan. It was seen that the Afghan Taliban were focused towards Kabul, and the Pakistanis were quite comfortable with that situation.
But now they're in Swat Valley.
Then, of course, a domestic Taliban movement emerged in the past 2 years, largely because of U.S. Attacks inside Afghanistan, as well as the drone attacks inside the federally administered tribal area. So that created its own backlash, and that is now spreading into the settled area of the Northwest Frontier province. Pakistan also faces an internal militant movement from the Punjab, southern and central Punjab. These were groups that at one time had official support because they were providing support to the people in Kashmir fighting against India. That relationship may have ended, but these groups still remain. And in the last few days in particular, there have been attacks inside Pakistan that have put the Pakistani Taliban and the Punjabi militants on a direct collision course with the army as well as the state of Pakistan. The good news, if anything could be called a good news, is that out of all this horrific troubles and the over 2 or almost 3 million internally displaced people that have come out of Swat, the people of Pakistan, the average population, is now turning against these groups. This is not the Islam that they are familiar with. As you were saying, these are not the values that the common person in Pakistan favors. And so it's a great opportunity now for the United States to strengthen its position as a friend of Pakistan, to to go in with a much larger quantum of aid than that which has been announced, $110 million, to show that they are the friends of the people of Pakistan and that they want to help the democratically elected government survive and to do well.
Let's talk about the relationship between India and Pakistan. Can India and Pakistan find a common ground to work together for a common goal with open heart and open mind, because both of them share a common destiny? If you were given a chance to shape the U.S. and Indo and Pakistan relationship, not the U.S. relation, but Indo-Pakistan relationship, if you had the chance to do so, what would you do? And I'm sure this is a hot topic for you, Shuja.
Absolutely. I'm very committed to this, particularly in my new job at the Atlantic Council in the South Asia Center, which you know very well.
Yes.
It is as a forum to bring the countries of the region together. So I'm personally very committed to this idea. I believe there is no other way. When you
have to live in peace and harmony together.
Absolutely. When you're neighbors, you have to live well together, and there's codependency. It's economic, it's political, it's military, it's all these relationships. But most important is the economic, and that is a part which has been missing. We are neighbors, and under Economics 101, Pakistan and India should be each other's major trading partner. Neither is. For India, the first trading partner is China, followed closely by the United States. For Pakistan, the major trading partner is the United States, which is 10,000 miles away. It's not a neighbor. So that has to change. The good news, again, is that there are indications that businessmen on both sides are being very smart. So if you examine the trade from Pakistan to Dubai to the UAE, and the trade from India to the UAE, you will see over the past few years a discrete amount of increase in that trade. And my calculation is that that trade is really India-Pakistan trade going through the UAE, which is a very expensive way for neighbors to trade when they have a huge common border. So it's important for vested interest groups to be created on both sides of the border, involving the business community initially, bringing in civil society groups, and then eventually resolving whatever the political problems are that exist between the two.
I'm encouraged by that. I think it's very important for the what I meant to say, for India and Pakistan to work together. What are the prospects for the U.S. aid package for Pakistan? It's in Congress right now. I heard that the Congress is about to pass the aid package. Will it work?
Well, first of all, the House bill has been marked up, which means that all the discussions have taken place, the hearings were held. The Senate bill is probably going to be marked up in the following week after they come back from recess. Based on my conversations with people on the Hill as recently as yesterday, it appears that within the first 2 weeks of June we should have a bill passed in both houses of Congress, and then perhaps there will be a conference committee meeting and they will resolve it. Will it work? I think it will. There are obviously conditions, there are obviously principles that the United States has enunciated in these bills that it expects Pakistan to follow, and that will guide its aid to Pakistan. But I think it's equally important for Pakistan to know that these conditions exist, because it will allow it to make sure that the aid doesn't go waste. The biggest thing out of this aid package is that it's a very long-term commitment. It's a 5-year commitment, and it's likely to be renewed for another 5 years. And it's spread throughout Pakistan so that people in all the provinces will benefit from it.
Oh, I hope so. Well, thank you very much for coming to our show. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
And this is our show. Until next time, this is Frank Islam of FI Investment Group wishing you a great week.